Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to something special this time around. Something special today. Today we are going to check out Grave of the Fireflies, the movie. I thought I wanted to do a little bit something special for Christmas, and this is one of the movies that I've been trying to watch for forever. I know it's not really a Christmas movie; it's a World War II kind of deal, and I know it's like two kids, maybe I think two siblings or something, but I don't know anything about the movie other than that. I know that it's a pretty old movie. I know it's from 1988. It is a Ghibli movie, which I just found out. I was like, wait, that's a Ghibli movie? But that actually already spells really, really well because when I was a kid, obviously there's like Disney. I was watching Spirited Away, which I kind of liked, but most of all, I think like the Ghibli movie I associate the most interested and like warm memories with in terms of like just generally finding the narrative very gripping and liking the characters a lot is Princess Mononoke, which I think is like one of the staples of Studio Ghibli and one of the ones who made Studio Ghibli very, very famous even in the West. So I'm very curious how Grave of the Fireflies holds up to that. What other things it can bring, right? If you know me, this is not just a channel about psychology, of course. It's also a channel about like entertainment and just being like a personal experience for me watching some of these series, some of these movies. And I think I do hope that this movie is giving us some stuff to talk about, some stuff to go into, and maybe even in the comments down below, just drop some comments about like the elements of the movie that you like the most, and we can engage a little bit with each other. And other than that, I do just hope to enjoy myself and maybe be emotionally gripped and maybe um, have some food for thought based on this movie and generally have a good time with you all. So, without any further ado, I would say let's get into this movie. Let's check it out and see what it's all about. I'll see you on the other side. All right, Grave of the Fireflies. We'll still have to figure out if the subtitles are any good, but we're gonna start in three, two, one. Let's go. There it is. Studio Ghibli. Been a while since I've seen a Ghibli movie, to be honest. 1988. Holy shit, that's before I was born.
昭和20年9月21日夜、僕は死んだ。
A post-mortem. Day I died. Okay. Just adjusting the screen a little bit. Don't mind me. It's so silent. It's so silent. What the hell? My boy is in a rough shape.
しんどいのやろか。アメリカ軍がもうすぐ来るというのに、恥やで、駅にこんなんおったら。
He doesn't even recognize that somebody just dropped some food.
今、何日なんやろ。節か。まだか。
なんやこれ。ほっとけほっとけ。捨てといたらええねや。こっちのやつももうじきいてまいよるで。目ポカッと開けてるようになったらあかんわ。
Notice the distance, right? The emotional distance with which she treats them. Like they're not human. Bro, why is this making me emotional just from the first minute on? This little brother or little sister or something? Look at the color grading. I love how old anime used to have this very rich drawn style of environmental design. I miss that about the new, like, I miss that in some of the new animes. I mean, I know we have like a lot of action and cool stuff, but like the detail in something like that. That's him, right? Girl. Alright.
ほな一足先にゴーに行かしてもらうからね。あんたらも気ぃつけて早いでよ。せっちゃん、お兄ちゃんの言うことよう聞くんよ。
お母ちゃん、そんなことやから早う出な。
はいはい。
あ、お母ちゃん薬持った？
はいはい、持ちました。
And he's kind of in a uniform, so maybe he's like already like a young recruit or something. Ooh, okay. We got a whole routine. And that's that, I guess. Getting out. Not enough time to get all the stuff. I get that, right? He was like, am I gonna like put the fire out? No, I need to get out first, protect us. Is he gonna try and do it? I think she's saying Nichan, right? Like, I know the subtitles are saying Seta, but Nichan, yes. Hmm. So much chaos. Oh, that's cool. Where they're like they're pumping the water. Don't even know which part of like of Japan they're at, because like depending on where they, I know there's been entire islands that have been bombed to all hell. So like during World War II. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Actually, since I've interrupted it anyway, it's crazy, right? Think about that. I don't know how old he is, but he barely seems more than 14, 15. Maybe 16 if you're lucky, right? He's already got a uniform, so maybe he's like a young recruit in like the Emperor's army or something. And either way, maybe it's just a dress code back then. I don't know exactly, but it looks kind of soldiery, or at least Boy Scout, basically. It's kind of crazy, right? At that age, being responsible for your younger sibling, right? For somebody who's kind of can't do anything um, when stuff like that happens, air raids and whatnot, right? And danger. So the weight of responsibility on him, and just the weight that's on him with every decision that he's making, right? Where do we go? Do I go left or right here? Which one is safer? Which one is going to get me to a destination that we can take shelter in, right? Where do we stay for now? Where do we stay for the night, right? Where do we meet back up? All of these, like all of this information that he needs to have, all of the decision that he has to make, the problem solving that's happening here, right? And the responsibility in the back of that, right? Being must be weighing down on him to a degree, right? But he has to be the mature one. He's the older one, so he's responsible, and he feels responsible. And if anything happened to, um, I don't know how her name is, but to his little sister, I'm sure he would blame himself, even if it's not his fault. So, yeah, innocent life. It always kind of touches me that it's like, I mean, it's not her fault that her country went to war. It's not her fault that all of this is happening right now, but we still have to, right? She has to live with the consequences, and hopefully she'll have a responsible Nichan who can protect her and be there for her. But that's not necessarily the case for every child out there, especially in those times where I think, like, at the very least, if they're on the mainland, the war has already reached the mainland. So yeah, and now the Japanese people feel the full brunt of what the army was fighting before, right? The full force and the consequences of what people up there in the government and probably the emperor decided.
あるよもっとええの
うちもお金持ってるねん。これ開けて。
Yeah, she has a little bit of money and a lot of other stuff. Setsuko, yeah. So it's Seta and Setsuko.
これが空襲の後で古いやつか。
Wow. That is devastating. I wanted to say ghastly or ghostly, right? Like,
えらい
チリン
やっぱりしてしもうたな。見てみ。
wooden
あれ
houses.
公会堂や。兄ちゃんと雑炊食べに行ったやろ。
お家開けてしまったん？
そうらしいわ。
どないすんの？
お父ちゃん敵取ってくれるて。
That's a soldier, huh? He will make them pay. Okay. Yeah, of course he.
焼けなんだらそれはもう肩身が狭いやろな。焼けてさっぱりしたわ。
かわいそうやった。
まあ無事で何よりやったな。
突撃に発落ちよってん。むしろかぶせてほったらか思てもな。よしこぼれるやろ。どないもこないもならへんわ。
違うわ。おばちゃんやないわ。
兄ちゃんおしっこ。
よっしゃ。
上の子上西
ないした。
目痛いね。
こすったらあかん。
Probably smoke, right?
学校行ったら洗うてくれるよ。
お母ちゃんどないしたん？
学校におるわ。
学校？
せや、早行こ
Oh, that's neat how you can just like wrap it around.
セータさん。セータさんお母さんに会いはった？怪我しはったのよ。はよ行ってあげな。うち見ててあげる。怖かったね、せっちゃん。泣かんかった？お兄ちゃんご用があるからちょっと待ったらね。
So interesting. Everybody knows one another, right?
おうセータ君探してたんや。元気やった？
う。お母ちゃんは？
こっちや。あ、これお母さんのや。こっちこっち。
Ooh. All right. That's not. Oh God, that's not great.
今ようやくねはったんや。
Burns.
どっか病院あったら入れた方がええねんけどな。聞いてもろてるね。西宮の海星病院はやけんかったらしいけどな。
お母ちゃん心臓悪いんですけど、その薬もらえませんか？
ああ、聞いてみような。ほな、また来るから。
That is crazy.
お母さん
Half a day ago, she still looked normal, right? Like, and here she is, all of these burns, barely recognizable, and all these bandages. What do you even do with the sister, right? You take her there, maybe you can, right? But
わかった？
はあ、
お気の毒やね。
喉乾いた。
何かできることあったら言うてちょうだい。そや、乾パンももろた？ほな取ってきてあげるわ。
この指輪財布へ直しとき。なくしたらあかんで。お母ちゃんちょっと気悪いね。時期用なりよってな。
どこにあるの？
病院や。西宮のな。
kind of a white lie,
そや
right?
から今日は学校へ兄ちゃんと泊まって。明日、西宮のおばちゃん知ってるやろ。池のそばの。あそこ行こう。な。
うちら2階の教室やねん。みんないてるから来えへん？
すみません。僕ら後で行きますさかい。
ほな後でな。せっちゃん。
食べるか？
お母ちゃんとこ行きたい。
明日ならな。もう遅いやろ。
And that's really hard. I mean, she can't be more than like 5 or so. 4 or 5. It's really hard for me to tell age when it's like drawn, but
セミ兄ちゃんうまいで。
交代は取れないな。見ない方がいいよ、遺体は。
なんせこの陽気ではな。今日からでもトラックで運ばな。
Doesn't look like she's gonna make it, right?
妹さんどないしたんや。
西宮の遠い親戚に今朝預けてきました。焼け出されたら置いてもらうことになっとったから。
そうか、そりゃよかった。ほな、私は任務があるさかい、これで元気でな。
That her ashes? Oh no, okay. It almost looked like him. Maybe that's on purpose, right? Like him seeing himself in another soldier. I think like this could be me in like 2 days or 3 or whatever. Again, the detail is incredible. Like in the environment. Hey, this is so strange. Is he like from the afterlife? Are they looking upon like what happened to them and where they were? This is so weird. This is him. It's almost like a derealization.
お母ちゃんまでケーキ痛いの？
She's dead.
空襲で怪我しあって。
おかえり。お母さんどないやった？海生病院？
はあ。
Hesitation.
海軍さんはええわ。疎開にも使ってトラック使って運ぶんやから。あと、蚊帳と布団は三条に出してあるさかいな。
すみません。
お母ちゃんもう指輪せえへんのかな？節子にくれはったんやろうか。
それ大事なんやからしもとき。お母ちゃんな。お母ちゃん、もうちょっとようなったら一緒に見舞いに行こうな。もう遅いからおやすみ。
What do you do, right? What do you do? God, these images remind me so much of like all of the images you'd see of like reconstruction in Germany after World War II. Like all of the houses just rubble and everybody's just helping getting everything back in order stone by stone. Which is crazy if you think about that, right? Very interesting how this whole movie, but also especially the scene, seems to have some kind of like hopeful melancholy about it, you know? So, what is that? Sour grapes? But yeah, melancholy. Life goes on kind of deal.
芯に鰹節、干し芋に卵、それに梅干し。
Ah, pickled plums, okay.
いやー、これバターやないの？非常時言うてもあるとこにはあるもんや。軍人さんばっかり贅沢して。それでセータさん、病院へ寄ってきはった？先のことも相談せんならんし、せっちゃん連れていっぺんお見舞いに行ってこんなら思っとるんやけど。あかんかったんか。
お母ちゃん学校で死んだんです、おとつい。
なんやって、死にはった。そんならそうとなんですぐに言うてくれはらへんかったん。水臭い子やな。
節子に知られとうなかったんです。
死にはったんか。えらいこっちゃ。すぐお父さんに手紙書いて知らせんと。
お姉ちゃんに下駄買うてもらった。
よかったな、節子。
おかえりなさい。
See, that's what I mean. Like, children, they just still like room to recover.
ありがとうございました。
Just a sec. That's what I mean. Like, children, there's still room to recover from things that are very traumatic, right? People dying around you, things exploding, right? It's very scary, but having the right environment in this case, mainly her brother, but also probably the aunt, it helps you, right? It's like, and at that age, right, Setsuko, she doesn't linger on these things because her world is still kind of secure. There's still the sense of, yeah, my brother will take care of things, my aunt will take care of things. Like, I mean, it's not a conscious thought, it's more of a feeling, of course, at that age, but there's so much room for growth in children, even if they've experienced bad things. Room for healing, room for recovering from stress, from traumatic or nearly traumatic things. Because, yeah, I mean, if the environment provides it, which is why it's so incredibly sad and gut wrenching if the environment actually can't provide that, if the environment is harsh and keeps putting a child down. I'm just like very much dreading what is gonna happen, because this seems to me like a story where we're still like, there's still room, right? We can still go into a happy future, but we've seen the beginning, and we've seen him being like, I died at that day, and we haven't seen Setsuko there. We have seen him in his last moment thinking about her, and now we have these scenes where they both are kind of looking down on what's been happening in the past, supposedly before they died. I say they because I'm pretty sure they're both dead at this point in time. And it's like, there's so much, like, it's not fair, right? That children which are innocent, which haven't done anything wrong, need to experience these things. post-traumatic growth is a thing, right? So if you manage to get out of something really harsh, if you manage to actually maybe kind of just survive and get out of there and find an environment that is helping you flourish again, that is supporting you, then it's very likely that either on your own or with the help of others around you, you will be able to process the bad things that you've experienced, and get out of this somewhat, well, I don't want to say stronger, but somewhat like resolved and with a lot of possibilities in life. But oftentimes, unfortunately, especially in times like these where there's like war and destruction and whatnot, life isn't that easy, right? And there's always adversity around the corner. So I'm kind of dreading if something happens to the aunt, or maybe the aunt is like not ready to take care of them, and then they have to see where they can go. Especially since the war isn't over at this point in the story.
なんなんあの音。
ああ、食用帰りや。怖いことあれへん。
あ、ホタル。あ、
こら、捕まえてみ。
わあ。
Mm.
ああ、潰れてしもた。
なんや変な匂い。
ぎゅっと握るからや。
It's beautiful.
ホタルが。せやせつか。目つむってあんしてみ。
なんでよ。
なんでもええから。あー。
ラップ。ラップラップラップ。ラップラップラップ。ラップラップラップラップ。
That is adorable.
もうちょっとで飲み込んでしまったくやった。
ただいま。
遅かったやないの。おばさんにちゃんとお礼言うたやろな。
はい。うまそうやな。
You don't have a lot of food, right? I hope she's not exploiting them in a way that she's like getting food and they have to starve.
セータさん、あんた学校どないなっとるの？聞かんでええの？
はあ。動員行っとった神戸製鋼は爆撃でめちゃめちゃやし。
He was working.
行ってもしょうがないんです。
へえ。お父さんには手紙書いてくれたんやろな。
出しました。これ陳述吹き付けで。
いつ？
ここへ来てすぐですから。もう10日以上前です。
10 days.
おかしいな。
I mean, his father could be dead.
ハサミつこたら返しとかなあかんよ、せっちゃん。選曲はどないですの？
ますますあかんらしいですわ。
空襲で焼けてしもた分だけ他の工場にしわ寄せが来ますやろ。本土決戦に備えて増産に励めの一点張りですわ。
そうやろな。食料の配給過程悪うなるばっかりやし。戦地の兵隊さんだけやのうてみんな大変ですな。恋さんもお国のための勤労動員やもん。ようけ食べて力つけてもらわんと。また
Another air raid.
二人も焼き出されか。大変や。せやけどまだ小さいのにかわいそうにな。
どないした？汗もかゆいんか？
暑い。ここも嫌や。
我慢せなあかん。兄ちゃんおるから怖ないやろ。海行ってみようか。
行か海。
So adorable how he takes care of her. It's incredible because you don't see like buildings and general landscape and cities of an era like this in a lot of movies. It's really cool to see it here. Like, I haven't even lived in this time and it feels nostalgic, kind of.
What? 塩水汲んどるんや。塩も醤油も配給だけと足りんのやて。節子、はよ裸になり。
Gonna be cold. Ooh, she's got burns.
ちょっと冷たいかもしれんな。気持ちええやろ、汗ものとこ。
Careful. It's a huge bathtub. Yes, it is. Ooh, careful. Yeah, I think he's more than asleep, but
そんなん見んでもええよ。
hmm.
もうちょっと熱なったら泳げるわ。教えたる。
Oh, he did that very well. Honestly, he did that very well. Like, a lot of people, interestingly enough, a lot of people, like, they over-dramatize things, right? Like, obviously this is impactful. This is a dead person. And it's disturbing for somebody who is aware of the concept. But now what happens if you react very shocked and emotionally disturbed when a child is seeing this. What happens is that you, as the primary person of care, right, the person who is like providing security and providing emotional stability to a kid, if you react that way, it's gonna spring over to the kid, right? It's like gonna be like, okay, they are like my big brother is suddenly shocked. He is suddenly not in control. He is afraid. He is disgusted. He is sad, right? And suddenly this is going to take over. Children have like, most children, not all children, most children have like they swing very hard emotionally with you, right? So if you are shocked, they're starting to get unsure. They're starting to get afraid. They're starting to get sad, right? So he did that very smoothly. He was like, "Yeah, don't look at that," right? And then he just like went. He didn't even say it in like a in a scolding manner. He's like, "Yeah, don't look at that." Very casual, very like nonchalant, and because of that, this wasn't a moment, right? This wasn't disturbing in any way to her as like a kid because she didn't realize what was happening there, right? She didn't have any like conception of that. Too young for that. So he kind of protected her from that experience by staying emotionally calm and handling the situation very well. So that to me that is a lot, like that shows a lot of emotional maturity on his part, because a lot of adults don't react this way, right? A child kind of like a child falls on their knees or on their head and they're like, oh my god, everything okay, right? And that immediately that gets you in, like that gets a child into this state of, oh god, something is happening, something is not all right, right? Not him. Very mature, very clever and emotionally well done. I mean, obviously this could also have been a situation where he's actually teaching it to her what that means, right? Dying and whatnot. It doesn't necessarily have to be, right? He's like of the very understandable state that he wants to protect her from these elements of the world, which at some point in time probably is not going to be possible anymore. But I understand the sentiment, and I think in this moment maybe it was the right decision. But yeah, let's move on.
泳いだらお腹減るやん。セータさん、セッちゃん、おいで。お腹すいたやろ。カルピスも消えてるよ。
Why does this feel like a dream? I mean, he's wearing different clothes for one. Is that like a memory with the mother? I'm not like, it's a little bit hard for me to differentiate between their mother. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, so that was their mother when they were younger. Okay. So he was like going back in his mind.
それでお前元気やったんか？
ええ、うちは元気や。みんな用意してくれはるし心配
お
ない。
腹すいた。
相変わらず
さあたち早からんと空襲来るで。
疲れたわ。兄ちゃんおんぶ。
Alright. Yeah, they're both hungry. Things are being
お母
rationed.
さんの着物な、言うては悪いがもう用もないんやし、お米に変えたらどう？おばさんも前から少しずつ物々交換して年回りしてたんよ。
That's very hard.
これで一頭にはなる思うよ。
一頭？
セータさんも栄養つけな。体丈夫にして兵隊さん行くねんやろ。
一頭になるんですか？
Very interesting. We talk about that later,
それ
okay?
がきっとお母さんも喜びはるわ。ほな、ちょっと行ってくるさかい。 せっちゃん、起きてたんかいな。
お母ちゃんのおべべあかん。お母ちゃんのおべべあかん。あかんあかん。お母ちゃんのや。お母ちゃんのおべべあかん。
話や。
あかんあかん。いややいやや。いややいやや。
節子。
いややいやや。
節子。節子。節子。
And the petals fall.
ええお米やろう。晩はこの白いご飯炊くさかいな、せっちゃん。はい、これはあんたら持っててや。
あ、白いご飯やで、節子。
She's still sad. What is he gonna do to try and cheer her up? Yeah. Not working as easily.
恋さんも兄さんも残業やさかい、せっかくのぬくいご飯が食べられんで気の毒やわ。
美味しいな、やっぱり白いご飯は。
おかわり。
はいはい。せっちゃん白いご飯やとよう食べるな。
好きやもん。
We're making rice balls. Onigiri.
どないした？
雑炊やや。
僕の持ってきた梅干し、もうないんですか？
そんなもん、とうにのうなったやないの。はい、お弁当。
ほな、もろていきます。
ご苦労さん。
ほな行ってくるわ。
気ぃつけてな。
見てみ、ヒューはおむすびやから、雑炊我慢して食べ。
ええ加減にしとき。うちにおるもんは昼かて雑炊や。お国のために働いてる人らの弁当と一日中ブラブラしとるあんたらとなんで同じ思うの？セータさんな、あんたも大きいねんから助け合いいうこと考えてくれな。あんたらはお米ちっとも出さんとそれでご飯食べた言うてもそらいけませんよ。通りません。
Harsh.
ちょっと続けてご飯食べさせたったらまあ口が肥えてしまいよってからに。
そやかったらうちのお米やのに。
なんや、そうならおばさんがずるいことしてる言うの？えらいこと言うね。みなしご二人預かったってそう言われたら世話ないわ。
Shouldn't that be natural?
うちとあんたらとご飯別々にしましょう。それやったら文句ないでしょ。それでな、セータさん、あんたとこ東京にも親戚いてるんでしょ。お母さんの実家で何やら言う人おってやないの。手紙出したらどう？この西宮かていつ空襲されるかわからんよ。
そやかて住所分かれへん。
And that's that, huh? Too much of a burden.
はようち帰ろう。そうやね。お父ちゃん待っとるもんね。カエルが鳴くから帰ろう。
堪忍堪忍。
Not wanted, huh?
されてしもた。どないしたん？
お腹減った。喉乾いた。
よっしゃ。ほら、ドロップなめ。お母ちゃん、銀行に7000円も貯金しとったんや。7000円やで。あんだけあったら何とでもやっていけるわ。もう心配あらへん。
If the bank still exists.
お父ちゃんにな、はよ返事ください。節子が待ってます。言うて書いてるんや。
Question is, what's going on inside of him? Because he's trying to be strong for his sister.
あんたらは運がいい。
今時こないな七輪なんぼ金出したかて手に入らへんで。今日は売ろうにも品物がのうて商売上がったりや。特に金物はあかん。どっこにもないわ。
告げの櫛と、それから番傘ないですか？
傘はないな。あ、そうや。
雨雨降れ降れ兄ちゃんが蛇の目でお迎え嬉しい
An old broken umbrella. Okay. Holy shit, that's like, that's not even half an umbrella, actually. With all of those holes.
うまいやろ兄ちゃん。
日の始末だけは気ぃつけてや。
はい。
どないしたんですあの二人。
今日から自分らで自炊するんやって。
おお、そらまたけなげなこってすな。おかわり。
お母ちゃんまたきついこと言うたんちゃうの？
せやけど、ごめんなさいの一言ものうて、七輪から何から買うてきてからに、まるで当てつけやん。
I don't think he did it to spite
お
you.
父さん。
I don't think it is to spite
気に
her.
なるよ兄ちゃん。
ええよ、そんなにきちんと座らんでも。
はい、2人分な。
これだけ？
ああ、次の配給は7月に入ってからになるやろ。
Hungry again? The last one. Oh no, there's still 3 or 4. Alright. She's learned a lot of responsible behavior. Right? It's not like she's taking a lot. She is being responsible. Oh, this is so cute. Still some sugar in there.
甘いか？
味がいっぱいする。
ぶどう、いちご、メロン、ハッカ、全部入ってるもんな。節子、みんな飲んでええわ。
And he's not taking any of it.
飲んでしまった。
あれあれ、片付けもせんで寝てしもって。勝手なことばっかりして。ほんまにあの子らには可愛げいうもんがないんやから。また。
お母ちゃん。
セータさん、恋さんも兄さんもお国のために働いてるんですさかい。せめてあんた泣かせんようにしたらどないやの？毎晩警報でええ加減みんな寝不足になっとる言うのに、うるそうて寝られへん。
That is sad. I'm just saying, like, I mean, I understand her perspective, but I really, what would they do if like a little baby was there and screaming?
セータさん、また横穴行くんか。あんたの年やったら隣組の防火活動するんが当たり前やないの。
We're back in Reflection Land.
お家帰りたいわ。おばさんとこも嫌や。
お家焼けでしもたもん。れえへん。ほにはにほいとほほほにはに。はい。屋根より高い鯉のぼり。大きな孫いはお父さん。
よしなさい。この戦時中に何ですか。怒られんのはおばさんですよ。非常識な。
Wait, and that's why. Give me a second, okay? Give me a second. Just because there's a war going on, we all need to be very down and sad and grumpy and angry and holy shit. I want to smack her. I want to smack her. I understand, right? Like on the inside of her, it's like a lot of trouble, right? Like she's afraid. There's a lot of things she has to do that she normally doesn't, right? Life could fall apart any second. There's always work to do. But this is exactly why you should enjoy these moments, right? This is exactly why you want to give your kids joy in life, because you don't want them to grow up having all this sadness and all these bad and devastating experiences. You do want to give them that feeling of security, of happiness, of nice moments. You don't have to do it all day, of course, right? And I understand that if he's really not going out there and like not doing anything, that she's like kind of like, you could help here and there, right? You could get some money in, some food, whatever. I understand that because he's like 15, 16, right? There is room for him to do that, especially since supposedly I think her own daughter is doing the same thing. The question here is, does that mean you can't do anything like that? Right? You can't have fun. You can't be doing a little bit of music, you know? If we lost all of our musicians, all of our artists and entertainers, if we lost all the people who are writing stories and telling stories by the campfire in bad times like these, I think people wouldn't have the morale to go on. I think people wouldn't have hope for the future. People would just be very, very depressed and disappointed and wouldn't really have the motivation to do anything. Now, again, I understand some of her frustrations, right? She has to, right? Provide for 2 more people. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of anxiety. That's a lot of like parting with your own food, with your own food security, with your own survival in order to provide for 2 other lives. That's a lot more work you have to put in to get the same thing to provide for your family. But if it's family, and it is the family of her brother, I think, right? Like the father, like his father. Seta's father is her brother. So shouldn't that be something you do anyway, right? Even like, look, there's more than enough people who have very little in their lives. And they take care of people who aren't even their own flesh and blood, right? Out of compassion for other human beings, out of empathy, out of like the knowledge that yes, children and teenagers, they deserve to have a place to call home. They deserve to be to a degree sheltered because they are the future, right? And it's not their fault. I will talk about like the subtext of some of what we've been like seeing throughout the movie so far with um with all of these like the little sentences where we hear like you grow up and become a soldier so you can bring glory to the country, right, and stuff like that. It's like very interesting like social subtext about like how things were back then, right, and how things were seen as well, right, thanks to propaganda, but also just like the general like societal norms that were established. But we're getting into that at the end because I feel like this is a lot of stuff that's within the subtext throughout the entire movie, probably. So it's easier to pick it up after we've watched the whole film.
神が舞い込んできたもんや。空襲言うたって何の役にも立たんし。そんな命惜しいねやったら横穴に住んどったらええのに。
あんな、ここをうちにしようか。ここやったら誰もけえへんし、柱も太いし、節子と二人で好きにできるよ。
うちらのうちにしてええの？うん。
And so he took what she said literally. And yeah, that's that.
えらい長いことお邪魔しました。僕らよそへ移ります。
よそってどこ行くの？
まだはっきりしてませんけど。
ほなまあ気ぃつけてな。せっちゃんさいなら。
She's surprised, but she's also glad that she's rid of them. Is that it? Or is she gonna be angry anyway? It's like, oh, they could at least thank me for what I've provided for them. Mm-hmm.
はばかりはどこにすんの？
ええやんかどこでも。兄ちゃんついてったらさかい。ありがとうございました。
そこらへんに置いといてや。
わらもう少しと何かおかずになるようなもん売ってくれませんか？
ああ、ええよ。あるもんしかないけどな。
Look at the two of them. That's so cute. It's crazy. Two orphans. Can't be too many calories, I'm gonna be honest. No, I mean the rice, yes, the rice definitely. The question is how long can it last for them?
取れたらあれも食えるはずなんやけどな。
帰る？
うまいんやて。節子。
The scarcity is itching.
どうなんしたん？
歯ブラシ忘れてきた。
ええやんか。一日くらいせんでも。 ほら蚊に食われるやないか。蚊帳に入っとらなあかん。
真っ暗やし怖い。
兄ちゃん照明行くけど節子もするか。あれ特攻やで。
ホタルみたいやね。
そうやな。そやホタル捕まえようか。ほら入って。
Oh, I love how they did that. Like with the blue hues around the shades. Oh, that's cool.
あ、
Oh.
兄ちゃんの顔見えた。
節子の顔もや。
And we got some fireflies for the light.
あ、かんざし。
うわ
よし、ホタルの光窓の雪や。
Ooh. Crazy. Incredible, that childlike wonder and creativity as well. Like a starry sky.
兄ちゃんな、節子の生まれる前、カンカン式だったんや。
カンカン式？
せや、お父ちゃん巡洋艦マヤに乗ってな、連合艦隊勢揃いやで。
I think these still happen in Japan, right? What? I was gonna ask what he's thinking right now. Ooh, she fell asleep. So sweet.
苦しいや兄ちゃん。
Did he feel rejected just now? He was looking for some emotional closeness, right? He's looking for somebody to hug here. No mom, no dad. Just got each other. Gotta feel lonely if you're the only one being responsible.
うちおばちゃんに聞いて。
He didn't tell her.
もう死にはってお墓の中にいてるねんて。
Probably gonna make him sad, not. Is it gonna make him angry too? Yes, maybe that was the emotional catharsis that he needed in this moment. He hasn't allowed himself to cry so far. To mourn. He had to keep a brave face for her.
若い子な節子覚えてへんか布吹きの近くの墓地行ったことあるやろあそこにいてあるわお母ちゃん大きなクスの木の下の
なんで二人すぐ死んでしまうん
Isn't it the life cycle? After they've gotten children. Oh, he's saying like his mom is under the tree, but she's actually not, right? They burned her, so I do wonder if, at least if I got that right, I do wonder if that's the plan, right? He's like, we'll bury her under the tree. It's just not telling Setsuko.
なんやこんなとこ誰か住んどるで焼け出されかいな怖いおっさん出てくるんちゃうかあいつの間にこれブランコやで子供がおるんやなんや何枚だ何枚だこれが本物やったらなあ節子やて見てみこれカエルの干物やえらいもん食うとるな書いとるたっちゃんやけんぼもこんなもんばっかり食うとるんやろかおえきわり大豆ばっかうちの雑炊よりあかんわうわお化けが出たうわ
それにお母さんの着物もみんな米と書いてしもてもうあらへんのですおじさんとこなら前にお金でいろいろ
着物とかお金とかそんなことを言うとんのやない。うちは農家へ言うてもそうそう人に分けられるほどは作っとらんねや。
It's getting rough.
それよりあんたら他に身寄りは
それが連絡つかへんのです
それやったらやっぱりあのうちへ置かしてもろた方がええ。第一今は何でもかんでも配給やし隣組に入っとらんと暮らしてはいけん。なよう謝ってあそこへ置いてもらえ。
すいませんでしたよそ当たってみますよってに
あんたも海軍さんの息子やろ。しっかりせなあかんで。
Nobody's got any left. I do wonder, like, how they're being rationed out, right? Like how the system works. If it's just adults who can get the food. Bro, don't steal it. Of course he's gonna steal it. Bro, don't overdo it. What are you? That's gonna be a problem. He has been seen. Now seeing this kind of existence kind of really makes it makes it apparent how good we have it.
好き嫌い言うたらあかん。ようけ食べな。大きくなれへんで。
兄ちゃん、
ん？
うちな、お腹おかしいねん。
冷えたんか？
もうずっとビチビチやねん。
Yeah.
この野郎。
勘にしてください。すみません。勘にしてください。妹病気やから。砂糖汁のマシありとうで。
何抜かす？戦時下のノアルシは中佐やねんぞ。このガキや。ほら、またんかい。こらなんや。こないなちっこい芋まで掘り腐って。この辺の畑荒らしとったんはお前やな。
すみません。勘にしてください。もうしませんよってに。
すんませんで済むねやったら警察はいらんわい。さっさと歩かんかい。タバコいいじゃん。
妹ほんまに病気なんです。僕おらなどうにもなりません。
He doesn't even stop. That's crazy.
事情はよう分かった。この件は犯人説諭および調書作成の上、税書するよってに引き取ってよろしい。
そやけど、
こんだけ殴りゃ気が済んだやろ。未成年に対する暴行、傷害。
ほな、よろしゅう頼まさ。
今夜の空襲福井やったらしいな。まあ奥で水でもいっぱい飲んだらどうや。
It's very nice of him.
兄ちゃん。
Can't really fathom what's going on inside of him. Probably feels like he's failed her.
どこ行ったいの？いかんね。お医者さん呼んで注射してもらわな。
節子。
兄ちゃん、はばかり行きたい。
そこまで我慢できるか？お二人。
お兄さんは山石ばかりに、おばあさんは。
So much destruction still happening. Oh, he's going to steal some food while everybody else is in the air raid shelters. I mean, I didn't see him trying to get work, but I assume there is none, and even if there was, they don't have enough food.
今日のかぼちゃうまいで。見てみ。ほんまの羊羹みたいやろ。
うち、
Oh, she does look.
嫌いや。
何言うてんねん。節子食べへんかったら、兄ちゃんお父ちゃんに
She
怒られ
looks
るやん
so
か。
weak. She looks so
さあ
weak.
兄ちゃん食わしたらさかい。 元気出して食べ。
She looks so weak.
ようけ食べて、はよようなって、また一緒に海行こう。
Kind of strange, right? How he's cheering on the destruction because it helps him survive in this specific case. It's not gonna go well for long. So. She looked pretty weak earlier. And she can still walk, I guess. Is he trying to sell them? Won't this be very like...
お母ちゃんの形見やてこれが。アホ。こんな安物のペラペラがなんで形見やねん。ええ加減にしとき。
Didn't have a lot of luck, I guess. Oh, she collapsed. She's barely breathing. Yeah, what?
息吸って吐いて。
それからもう何日も下痢が止まらないんです。
Can't keep in the nutrients.
塩水で洗うと染みて痛がるだけなんです。
栄養失調から来る衰弱ですな。下痢もそのせいだ。はい、次の人。
何か薬とか注射とか。
注射嫌や。
とにかく何か手当てしてください。お願いします。
薬を飲む。ま、塩をつけることですな。それしかない。
塩言うても。
どうしました？
塩なんかどこにあるんですか？
An ice block? Like for cooling or something? Is there salt in there? Or is he just giving her water?
何食べたい？
天ぷらにな、お作りに またドロップ舐めたい。
ドロップか。よっしゃ。貯金全部下ろしてくるわ。何かええもん買うてきたる。
なんもいらん。うちにおって兄ちゃん。
You do.
行かんといて。
心配せんでもええよ、節子。今度貯金下ろしてお米や需要のあるもん買うたらもうどこへも行かへん。ずっと兄ちゃん節子のそばにおる。約束や。
This is rough. This is rough. Holy shit. Like today, you and me, I mean, most of us can't imagine, right? We might not always have enough food, but we do have enough to survive.
降参って戦争に負けたんですか？何も知らんのかあんた。負けたって本当ですか？日本が大日本帝国か？ああ、無条件降伏やがな。連合艦隊どないしたんや？あかんあかん。そんなもん遠の昔に沈んでしもて一隻も残っとらんわい。なんやて？そんならお父ちゃん巡洋艦も沈んでしもたんか？それで返事も来らんなんか？そんなことわしが知るかい。けったいな子やの。お父ちゃんだほ。
He's feeling it too. There's not enough food for him either. Yeah.
お父ちゃん。お父ちゃんも死んだ。お父ちゃんも死んだ。お父ちゃんも。
No raid. It was surrender. The war is over, and he didn't know for probably a pretty long time. Maybe weeks, maybe even months.
遅なってごめん。今白いおかゆさん炊いてあるさかいな。
止まった。
うまいことかしわも卵も書いたんやで。それからな。
You shouldn't be eating this.
何舐めとるんや。これおはじきやろ？ドロップちゃうやんか。今日は兄ちゃんもっとええもんもろてきたんや。節子の大好きなもんやで。
兄ちゃん、どうぞ。
なんや？
This shot.
ご飯や。おから炊いたあげましょうね。どうぞ。お上がり。食べへんの？
節子。
ほらスイカや。すごいやろ。盗んだんやないで。 っててや。すぐ卵入りのお客さん作るさかい。
I'm wondering if it's not too late. Seems like she's barely
ここへ置いと
conscious.
くさかいな。な。
兄ちゃんおおきに。
I'm wondering what's going through his head right now. Like, at least on the subconscious level, because even like she's so weak, right? You don't even want to leave her alone. You want to be in the same room always and be like, make sure that she's alright. Was it just out of pride? Right? I mean, yes, there was a pride element to it, but I feel like maybe he had the feeling that he couldn't stay there too long, right? And whose fault is it really? He's just a kid, right? So, I mean, I understand some of her points, but like my focus falls back to the aunt, because she's like, there was so much negativity coming from her. And she didn't stop them, right? She was like, well, it's one weight off my back. It's not gonna be my fault when they die. So they didn't really, like, she didn't really care about them. Question is, what did she think when she took them in, right? Was it more of a societal obligation that she felt for a second, and then she was like, nah, it's too much work. And then when she started to get grumpy, and I don't know how the system worked, right? If it was more of a, depending on how many children you have, you get this amount of rations so you can provide for them. And what did they do with orphans? Because there probably were a lot of orphans during that time. I mean, part of survival is also being aware of your options. Maybe there were orphanages or places that would have taken him and his sister in, but he didn't know any better, right? Maybe that's the case. Maybe he didn't know anything about places that would have done something like that. I know in Western countries that responsibility often, like in times of war and crisis, in the past at least, this responsibility often fell to like not just like state institutions, but also even if they failed, maybe stuff like monasteries and churches and whatnot, trying to provide for a community as good as they could. I'm not sure how it was in Japanese society. Pretty like, I know there's a lot of like collectivism, so we're trying to provide for one another. But the arguments that the aunt brought up seemed very individualistic to me, more on the sense of like, what are you even providing? Do you deserve as much as everybody else who's working hard, right? Like something like that. We have debates like that a lot these days as well, right? Where people will sit on their asses and be like, I'm working a normal job and I'm earning a lot of money. I'm having maybe not a lot, but I'm earning enough money, right? I have somewhat of a standard of living that's probably better than a lot of other people's. But I don't want my tax money to go towards people who are less fortunate than me. Because what have they done, right? They're not working anything. And in this case, it's not like it doesn't matter to them. At least it doesn't occur to them, or they kind of like to shove that element of thought away. It doesn't matter to them that it's not necessarily the fault of the person that they don't have a job. It's not necessarily like maybe they can find a job, maybe they're not capable enough to do so, right? Of course, they don't provide as much value. They don't give as much value into society in terms of like productiveness, in terms of like making money, producing goods and whatnot. They get more than they actually give. But is that a reason to reject them? Is that a reason to to not provide for them? Shouldn't we provide for the weakest parts of our society? Shouldn't we provide for those who can't provide for themselves until they get to a point where maybe they can provide for themselves? Wouldn't everyone, like you, me, everybody, wouldn't everybody like to live in a world where you don't have to work 24/7, 6 or 5 or 7 days a week to survive? Wouldn't it be a fantastic world if we would have gotten to the point where we can live a normal life, eat food, drink water, be relatively healthy without having to provide any work? And I know that sounds like a crazy, like idealistic idea to some of you. But we're closer to that than you think, right? The advent of AI, the improvements and like advancements in automation. A lot of people are afraid that they will lose their jobs either through automation these days or through AI. And at some point they will be out of a way to provide for themselves. But the questions we should be asking is, if we live in a world where you don't have to provide, like where you don't have to go out and work anymore for things to actually be produced, for things to be created, wouldn't it be just and fair if we had the capability to provide for every human being on Earth to actually do that and not to demand anything in return? Because like it's not by the grace of the people who are rich and own companies that we get these things, right? It's human strive, it's human engineering, it's human advancement that brought us here. And even though the money might have come from different companies across time, if we lived in a completely different system that would be void of like capitalism, right? Capital in that sense, right? Privately owned companies and whatnot. If we lived in a completely different world where everything was designed differently in society, right? And we wouldn't be living in a world where some few people own entire like empires, billions of dollars. Then we would live in a world where the means of advancing technology would be in the hands of other people, right? Of other institutions. Because like what's behind human advancement isn't like money. It's not like private property. It's not a company. What's behind human advancement is human strive. What would we do without all of these engineers, all of these scientists that are at the back of that do the hard work, that do the research, that design new technology, that test that technology and actually come out the other way with a more efficient way to do something, right? To gain energy, to produce food, all of these things. That's human strive. That isn't money. So what we should be asking is, isn't it fair? Wouldn't it be fair to provide for humanity if we have the capabilities to do so? So I think what I'm trying to say is like, it's very easy sometimes to judge and be like, well, this person isn't working as hard as I am. I don't like giving them my money because they have it rough. The question is, how much does it hurt you to give a little bit of your money into a pool that is later being distributed towards the people who are less fortunate? And I say like, probably it's not going to cost you all that much, because if everybody is doing it, then the weak are provided for, the people who are unfortunate are provided for. And hopefully in the far future, and for that we have to set back some of our like immediate like desire for reward, for like compensation, they will provide for society, they will provide for their communities, they will be thankful. Of course there's people who are not thankful. There's people who are like fuck you, thank you for the money, right? But the amount of people that are like that dwindle in comparison to the amount of people who are just glad that they can survive right now and will maybe come out the other end with skills, with life lessons, something to provide on their own, be that on an emotional level. Right? Work doesn't have to be raw productivity always. Work can, like, right? Or compensation or providing for the community. It doesn't have to be work always. Of course, it's important, especially in times like these, right? To try and help with rebuilding efforts, with like planting crops, with all of these things. But have I ever seen in this entire movie one time where a person was like, you know what, I don't have a lot to share, but maybe you can help me work a little bit, and I'll share what little I have, and then maybe down the line we'll have more to provide. We'll have more food for ourselves, we'll have more food to maybe provide to the community. We haven't, right? All we have heard so far was the aunt being like, well, you could help with the fire patrol, right? Rescuing people and whatnot. Yeah, he could, right? But he has that responsibility. He feels he wants and needs to be there for his sister. And that's an important part of life too, right? Providing for the people that are close to you, the people that are less capable of actually providing for themselves. Like, that's a 5-year-old child over there, right? Who's gonna take care of her? You, auntie? I doubt it. But yeah, that's my kind of like tangent on that. I fucking knew it. And now he's alone. In spite of it all. Very interesting how detached some people are. I mean, I've seen this coming, but the cinematography is stunning. Incredible. This is a very different Ghibli movie, I gotta say. Like in tone, and art is still, the art is beautiful too. It's so amazing. Look at that. It's like a window into another time. I mean, shit like this is still happening today, right? That's the sad thing. Because it wouldn't have to be. It would not have to be happening. No, as much as I like humanity, as much as I love humanity, I goddamn hate it too. Shit, this music. And the way the flames just engulfed him, basically. No, of course, how could he? And the way the path lights up. That Tokyo. I'm assuming he never found his relatives the way this movie started, right? It was like some kind of like underground train station, maybe, right? Oh fuck, I did not sign up for this today. I should have known. What a great movie to watch for Christmas. Holy fuck. I'm sure there's been way more war orphans during that time. Still, it's incredible how much optimistic positivity this movie still has woven into its melancholy. I think if it hadn't, the emotional parts of it probably wouldn't have hit as hard, because that's what it's all about, right? In cinema and in storytelling, but also just in life. Things aren't as sad and devastating when they aren't accompanied or preceded by happiness and beautiful moments. Destruction is only devastating when it is preceded by creation. Sounds weird, right? That sounds like poetic and maybe high strung in a way, but there's some truth in that. The emotional lows really do hurt way too much when the emotional highs are in there as well. It goes for a movie as much as it does for life. And that, my friends, that was the movie. That's the movie. Holy shit. We will talk about it, but I think I'll need a second. Welcome back. Let's wrap it up and go through it, right? What a movie. Crazy. There's so much in this movie. From the undertones, the art style, everything. Yeah. I think that is like him. September 1945. The night he died. In a Tokyo subway station, it looks like. Or maybe like just a train station. It doesn't look underground, so it's overground. And he kind of looks like his sister did. His last thoughts being of her. Look at that. Right? The way we fall, like it's almost like some anime you see, like they're being shot very normally, and others they're gritty. The camera angles change, right? There's unique camera angles. This is like a normal one, right? He's like exhausted. He's not there anymore, right? Barely holding himself up, and now he's crashing down, and we do have boom, lying on the ground like a little lump of meat. That is such a nasty scene. Well, first of all, look at the lines. The way they're kind of like they're dirty. It's not clear lines. It's like slightly blurry on some ends. We do have like the smears everywhere. Everything is crumbling inside of this body. That's what it's saying, right? There's no substance. And even the eyes is especially like, I mean, it's a Ghibli movie, so it's not, the eyes aren't as big as they are in some modern anime. It's like more the classic cartoonish size for eyes, like the more normal eye size, you would say, right? A little bit more realistic, a little bit more true to life. Eye sockets are really hollow, and then we have no light reflected in the eyes, which is this universal sign for there's nothing going on behind there anymore. And then we have, like, at the last, we have the fly, right? Coming in here, landing, rubbing its forearms, right? Probably laying some eggs here and flying off, right? That's the last sign of somebody. The fly is feeling that, right? The body is already decomposing, it's decaying. He's about to die. And then, like, possibly eons later, because all of the light is gone, so it's night, he's like, oh, another one. Right. All of these orphans here. What's that? Just throw it away. This one's a goner too. We throw it out, pick up the fireflies, and this is when we start into this dreamlike red. It's very interesting because that's a red sheen, but it's not red in the sense of the fires of war. It's red in the sense of almost, it feels afterlife, right? And afterlife oftentimes feels cold, so you do have that cold blue sheen, but this cold red one works too. It's not a warm red one. Warm would be more filled with color, and here we have way more white, right? Way more brightness and contrast in that. The black sky, there's nothing to see, and down there there's this like illumination, this red illumination, as if from down below the gates of hell have opened and you're in the afterlife, basically. It's very interesting. And obviously all the fireflies, which normally like have a green sheen to them, are turned into the red and orange scale. We pick up the little thing, and suddenly it becomes what it used to be. Sakuma's fruit drops. Giving it to her. She's happy, hugging it, dancing. Well, not dancing, but like popping a little bit. Cold open into the type. Can I still read kanji? Probably not. The last one is ka. Haka. Is it haka? What is the first one? Is it? I don't know if it's ma or mu. Mataru no haka. I don't know. Tell me in the comments down below. I'm really rusty when it comes to even hiragana, so I really want to pick that up again. The way the lines are drawn from the light, it's like fire coming from up above. The way the colors wash, but at the same time it's not like a watercolor picture, because like the front of it is very clearly defined. Little scraps of paper on the floor, seemingly like wooden flooring. Them sitting here. Here, you want some? Yeah, give me some. We'll share it. And him waiting for her to eat it, and then eating it himself. Looking down dotingly. Looking out the window as the fire bombs keep dropping and the planes are in the sky. And we're back to present, right? When it all started. End of the war. Burying the goods. Getting the little sister, getting the picture of dad. All of these little moments. Detail in the environments. It's so crazy. Do the other subtitles say something else? I think it's Seta in all of them. Even though she's saying Nichan. Everybody's running. The little fire hoses. We're going to the beach because there's water there, right? It protects us from the fire. There's no houses, so nothing's gonna get burned here. Down the moat. Fire sizzling. People being buried under crumbled buildings. And one single soldier like screaming, "Long live the Emperor," kind of like in spite of the bombs falling, right? It's like a defiance, because at this point in time the war isn't lost yet. And people are being told we're fighting a holy, righteous war, right? That's what it was in World War II with the Japanese. They were like, this is our divine duty, right? We are on our divine mission. Nothing can defeat us. And then the war's coming to the mainland. The tides are turning. Oh, we're rich. With her little hoods here, it's so adorable. Like the contrast between the innocence of her and the things happening in this movie in the environment is crazy. We play a lot with contrasts, even in shots like these, right? Like the rain is coming down after a big fire, after a big air raid, and it's washing down everything with it. All of the things that haven't burned yet, all of the things that have, it's all being washed away by the rain. And all that's left is wasteland. This is it, people. This is what war does to us. This is what war does to the environment. All that conflict, just because people can't. It's interesting because some of these shots, it feels like he's out of the picture, right? Like he's in front of the picture. There's a separation going on between the characters, especially like him and her, like as the main characters, as opposed to the backgrounds. And I think the background characters also have that sometimes. Like they're cutouts, basically. Like they're drawn after the fact. Almost like this is an oil painting, and right? When you're drawing something on top after the fact. That being said, the art is stellar, right? Like the asymmetry in the shot, the way the angle we go at it, even in the early stages of this movie, it's already crazy good. Everybody's losing their houses, some people are losing their lives. Immediately notices that something's wrong. Again, building, mostly dead tree, devastation. Maybe you should have stayed with them. Maybe they would have been nicer than the aunt. I'm not gonna lie. Like everybody here knew you, Zeta. Maybe they would have taken care of you better than people up there. This scene is grueling. This is crazy. Look at that. But this is how it looks. Somebody got burned. That's probably more than the 30% that, like, if enough percent, I think it was 30%, I'm not sure, but if enough skin is burned, then your skin can't breathe anymore, right? There's like some oxygenation going on your skin. So if you got like 3rd-degree burns on enough of your body, real possibility that you're not gonna survive this, just based on the oxygen you can get. Not to speak of like what that does to somebody who has heart problems anyway. You know what's crazy about this shot? It's so same-ish in color, right? Like sepia tones. Even like his outfit, but like everything else as well. And then you come like, all of this is flat. There's smoke in the air. There's like one house standing in the back, one dead tree, and one half ruined. A bigger building on the right side. Kind of like for the, maybe even just for the weight of the weight of the scene, right? Kind of like just like the weight of the frame that we're looking at. And we're shooting up this little like little park, I guess. Like the training poles in the background. The first time he makes the decision to lie to her. And obviously she wants to see her mother. Upset. Afraid. Interesting thing is, like, she keeps crying and he's like, look at what I can do. He wants to distract her, but it doesn't work that well, right? And we see that like mirrored in some of the scenes later where it's like he wants to keep her from all of that. He isn't successful in everything, right? She's not even looking, she's just crying on her own. He doesn't know how to console her in this case. And tells us a little bit something about him as well. As much as he's emotionally mature in some cases, he's also not ready for this. He's not, and he shouldn't be, right? His mode of operation is, if she's sad, distract her. Now that's a good thing to do every once in a while, right? Kids are easily distracted and just get them to pay attention to something else. Change their entire mood, right? But he can't be emotionally there for her in moments where he himself is feeling hopeless and lost and out of control and sad. That's disgusting, by the way. The maggot. But that's reality. A place where there's no hospitals anymore because they've all been bombed, right? That's a crazy shot, right? Him sitting there, and one of them is actually this woman is kind of eyeing him like, oh shit, this guy lost somebody. And then we pan over and we're in the afterworld, right? In the afterlife. Him gently patting her head, looking at his past life, right? Letting it pass by. It's such a creative and cool choice. There's no actual distinction between the two lives, right? There's no clear-cut line. It's just the red hues going into the normal scene. or the normal scene passing over into the red hues. He arrives here, treads back through the last steps of his life, taking her with him, looking at himself as he's coming home with the ashes of his mother. Sad. Even here, we even have like the actual distinction, right? We step over, and it's a little bit more clear what the metaphor is, because like the bamboo on the one side and like the tree trunk on the other side, it's like a window provided for us into the living world, while we are at a plateau, which is almost like heaven, kind of, right? And we're looking down on earth, looking what happened. I think like he didn't want to tell her that her mom is dead, but also he didn't want the aunt to know immediately as well, because I feel like he saw that problem coming of like the aunt provided for them and liked to provide for them, because she was like, oh yeah, the mom's gonna be fine after a while, I'm gonna take care of them then, right? And if that's not the case, then the dad will. But both of these things didn't happen. And then the aunt got bitter, because she was like, oh, you left your kids behind and now I have to take care of them. But for me, that's still kind of a lack of emotional response. Like, first of all, a lack of like being a responsible adult. I'm sorry. It's not the fault of a fucking kid that their parents died, right? Even if he's 15 and could work a little bit something. Mom's a little bit better. I'll take you to see her. Facial expressions, they're so well done. She's such a nice kid. Pains my heart. I don't know what he's doing during the day, but I guess he's oh no, that's actually what he buried in the garden, right? Like, that's their house. Okay, I didn't realize that. But that's cool. So much like melancholic optimism in these scenes, right? Blue sky. We've got like later on that's changing a little bit, right? We still see the beauty in nature, but we see like different kinds of settings and atmospheres. But here it's like destruction, yes, but the sky is blue, it's optimistic. It's like, I don't know, a lot of people do associate the color blue, like especially a light blue, with something very like water, right? The juice of life, basically. And it's kind of a very positive emotion that I personally, and that a lot of people I know, probably associate with that. Even there, we have like the light blue hues in the moonlight. Laying in the bathtub. Going out for a stroll. Looking at the fireflies. And she kind of just like squishes one of them on accident, because she doesn't have that like care and that control yet. It's fine. There's millions of them. We share fruit drops and all of them. But we have little signs, right? She's scrounging out the leftover food from which got stuck on the pod. And he's like, that food looked good. He's like, well, shame I didn't get any. And it's raining. It's clouding over. We have that first confrontation. He's like, damn. How are you said in the letter? I'm not getting through. I find it very interesting that we make the choice to not let the father be the one to be like, holy shit, you're eating the food off our tables, but it's the mother, right? Like, well, mother, it's the woman of the house. It's very interesting, because he doesn't seem to care as much. That doesn't mean like, maybe he's just so absent that it doesn't matter, right? Or maybe he even died at some point and we didn't even get to know that, and like that's one of the reasons why she's so bitter at this point. But you're like, we're losing the war. He's so matter-of-factly saying that. But most people know what that means. It means more famine. It means more suffering, right? We haven't won. The promised victory is not going to happen. And obviously she hates shelters, right? It's loud. There's a lot of destruction when you're going to the shelter. You need to be afraid, right? Everybody's crammed. It's hot in here. I mean, nature goes on, but we... And he's trying his best to make her have a happy time, right? Provide what she needs: closeness, warmth, positivity, new experiences, fun. We're exploring stuff, we're going places, we're seeing things. And obviously he's not working, right? He used to work somewhere, the factory is not there anymore. So cute. She's like, just like preparing herself, getting her clothes off, going into the sea, and they're fooling around and just like having a fun time. You even see like the grandma and the little kid, and they're like smiling when they look at them, kidding around and having fun. And I think like that's something that's infectious, right? That's something that is, it's opening your heart as a person who does have that like positive outlook on life, or maybe enough life experience to be like, yeah, this is what's important, right? You empathize with that, like seeing children just playing around, having fun, being children. It's a lot of emotional nourishment, at least for me personally. I mean, there's people where that's not the case. It's like, it's kind of a reminder that life goes on. It's kind of a reminder that no matter what, like, no matter if we're having bad times right now, this is like, there's this innocence in that. There's this warmth, this human warmth that comes from that. Just witnessing a scene like that. And then we change the scene around. We go from innocent and stumble upon a dead body. Little signs. I love how this movie is like dropping little like disturbances into the water surface, right? We have like, if the movie is a clear water surface, right? It's getting ruffled once. And it grows calm again. The water's not. Suddenly it comes again. And it comes again. And at some point later, stone falls in and the waves start coming in. And we go back even further in time. Tetsuko is smaller. Seita is smaller. Mom is still alive. We're just playing in the sand. We're swimming. We're eating good. Bro, how's that weed? I mean, I know there's plants who look similar to that, but that's like one-to-one cannabis. It probably wasn't on purpose, but you know, funny. And it's like this seaside town and whatnot, and it looks like they were kind of rich. Or maybe not rich, at least well provided for, which makes sense because his father is or was a military officer. Probably was. You go past like something that seemed like a train station with two people reuniting, and he stops kind of looking at that. And a sadness in his heart because his father's probably gone and his mother is dead. Setsuko crying because she's like, she's hungry. and was selling the kimonos. But Setsuka is like, no, these are mom needs them. And I think that is one of the elements where she realizes, oh, he hasn't told her. He has still not told her, right? Maybe this is when she tells her at some point. And it's like, your mom is dead and buried. It's like just crying, and he's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear my little sister being sad, lonely. I love that, how he's coming in here. It's a little bit of a disturbance, but right? He's like breaking in. They're a little bit surprised, right? But it's like father and son are standing straight, right? Like a soldier. Looking up to people who give them stability, right? To people that is a great transition as well, right? Like the rose petals or the cherry blossom petals into the rice. It's crazy though that she's like, well, we sold your stuff, I get half of the rice, you get half of the rice. I'm like, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up. And she's like, oh, I mean, obviously in her mind, it makes sense, right? It's like, okay, I've provided for you all this time now. You haven't really worked much to contribute. I am owed this rice, right? Like half of that. I'm being generous by giving you half. And I think it's stupid, all right? Right? I wouldn't act that way if it was me, but I understand why she's in that mindset. And he doesn't complain in that moment. He's like, she's still mad that the kimonos got sold. Right? Maybe this is, though, maybe the aunt told her that the mom is dead, and this is why she's so dismissive of him, right? She doesn't know how to deal with these feelings. It's just a guess though. I don't know when it happened exactly. My daughter and our lodger are working overtime so much. I felt bad for not having rice to give them. What lodger? Hey. Here you go. With my daughter and our lodger. Is he the lodger that she's referring to? Working overtime, but he's supposedly, according to her, not working overtime. And she's digging it. I don't want rice porridge. Don't we have any more pickled plums? We finished those up ages ago. Right? Again, also, I don't want to always say it, but the detail in those shots. And everybody's taking their lunch. Right. And then he's like, we'll have rice bowls for lunch. Just hold on until then. She's like, stop that. You'll have it for lunch. Like the porridge. You think a lazy slug like you deserves the same as people who work for a nation? Look at that. Crazy, right? Or something like that just comes over your lips. You're old enough to know everyone has to cooperate. Saying you want rice, but do you earn it? Bro's a kid, he's younger than your fucking daughter. That's how it was, right? I mean, he was already working at a factory too, before the war, or during. I didn't give you rice, but you still complain. And she's like, but it's our eyes. Like, we sold our stuff. Oh, so now I'm cheating you, am I right? She feels attacked. She's like, what? What did you just say? You little ungrateful, spoiled fucking child. I mean, that's her words, not mine. Her thoughts. We'll just make our own dinners from now on. Question is, did she mean it? Because Seita took it. He was like, okay, you're gonna make your own? Okay, we're gonna make our own. Like, you have other relatives in Tokyo, and you ask them, get out. He doesn't know where they live. Like, I was saying, like, that we talk about this, like, our nation, right? Providing for a nation. Get healthy so you can become a soldier and fight in the war, right? Very interesting how this narrative was in the minds of people in society at that point in time, right? It's like being useful for the nation, otherwise you're not worth anything. I mean, and that's also kind of a little bit connected to collectivism in a sense, right? Because societies who are more on the collectivist side, they tend to judge people more on the merit that they provide to the community as a whole, rather than judging somebody based on what they provide to themselves and what kind of skills and abilities they have for themselves, right? So they don't judge the individuals much, but they judge the impact the individual has on society. So people like Seita are rats for them because they're not providing anything. Which is sad because he's just a kid. Even if he can't work, he's a kid. He shouldn't have to. But hard times make hard people, right? I was just saying I don't know that exactly, right? And I don't know if it fits what I was trying to say here. It was like hard times make hard people. Hard people make good times or easy times. Good times make soft people. Soft people make hard times. It's not true. It's actually not true. Okay, look. There might be some grain of salt, some grain of truth in there. Not grain of salt, grain of truth. It's a very small grain. Okay? Good times normally produce people who are able to actually fulfill their potential more. Okay? But that's kind of like the prophecy that people often tell themselves. It's like, oh, I've been so successful because I went through such a hard time and survived it. I would say it's like in spite and not because. Because if you would have been challenged to a degree, but not overwhelmed, and if you would have been provided for with knowledge, nutrition, security, chances are you would have been just as successful, maybe even more. Obviously, there's a good bit of luck in all of that. But yeah, it's really cool how throughout this entire show, we do see more and more how he's trying to provide and be the emotional center and support for both of them, right? He's trying to hold it in for himself, right? The emotions, all of the things that are going on inside of him. And at the same time, he's obviously also trying to provide her stability, which I think he was relatively successful with that, although obviously was the decision to basically run away from his aunt's home the right one? Should he have maybe tried to get in the direction of Tokyo, seek help somewhere? That's the question then, right? Maybe the attitude with which she treated him has made him make these decisions. And maybe if she treated him a little differently and said the things she said a little bit differently, maybe he could have survived. These are moments of happiness, right? Even though they're very melancholic. I'll provide for my own. I'll buy stuff. I'll cook stuff. And she's like, oh, he's just doing that to spite me. I don't think he's doing it right, just out of spite. Yeah, pride is in there, right? But she's saying I don't provide? Okay, I'll provide. It's gonna be fun. Throwing a tantrum. Because she's hungry. I mean, I'm gonna do it. So he's like, no, you need it. And again, she finds a reason to complain. Wait, left the dishes for me too. I could have been like, hey, Zeta, do your dishes. But you're gonna do it and you're gonna grumble and you're gonna be mad. And this kid. Little kid is screaming for her mother. He's like, don't be so loud. Everything is negative, right? I know you're suffering as well. I know you're rationing as well. Can't you have a bit of empathy for a little fucking kid? And we're going back into the underworld. It's so cool, so interesting. We're like, okay, now we're in the moment. We're in the flashback. We're running away from the fire. Now looking down into the living world. We're already safe. Yes, we were safe. Like he's remembering as he's going through it. And we're singing and she's going past. She's like, don't you realize there's a war going on? You're pests. You could just live in that shelter for all I care. Like, why don't we do it? He's like, I ain't gonna stop you. Haven't spared them a thought because he didn't go far, right? He went to the fucking cave, to the shelter. She could have always been like, okay, I said that. Maybe they're here. Let's search for them. Right? They're gonna die. No. One more weight off my back. Off my conscience. Fucking cruel. That's what you see a lot in people who are working in the health sector, right? I'm not talking about like being cruel. I'm talking about when you kind of realize that almost didn't say that, sorry. When you kind of realize that when people are working for a long time providing for other people, right? and they always have to be emotionally respondent, and they always have to put back their own emotions in order to provide for the emotions and the needs of other people. A long time, like what's happening to these people is kind of like they're starting to get emotionally more distant to a lot of these events happening, to a lot of like the fates of those people and emotions of those people that they're providing for. Like obviously they've seen a lot of like the breadth of pain and suffering, and the suffering of any individual might not be as bad as the worst that they have seen, and also at the same time it's very exhausting. It's very like it robs a lot of energy and emotional, like it gives you a lot of pain to actually care for everyone and every single human being that you're engaging with. So it's almost like a self-protection mechanism to keep your distance on an emotional level, right? Even if you're not doing it consciously, you're doing it subconsciously, right? Your brain is doing it to protect you. Long time we've called it burnout, right? Or at least it was like one of like the main like components of burnout in that sense, but there's no diagnosis such as burnout. Right? I mean, there's like similar things, right? Like an what was it called, right? Like a like an adaptive reaction to trauma or emotional distress or long-term stress. I can't think of the English name, but there's a lot to that, right? And it's understandable why people react this way. And obviously there's also societal conventions that add to that, right? The belief that everybody needs to kind of do their part for society, right? Be productive if they can, but even if they can't, it's like, right? You're kind of like looking down on them. Even if people are incapable or can't do it because they have to provide for example, for their little sibling who can provide for themselves. But it is cold, right? It doesn't change the impact that it has on other people. In this case, Seta. I mean, Setsuko is still like child enough to not realize the cruelty of what she's hearing, right? But even she is kind of like getting that, oh, we're being a burden, we're bad and stuff like that, right? Because of the tone that the aunt is saying it in, and the way she's always kind of scolding them. Being with her brother is more fun. But even the farmer, I find it very interesting. The farmer does have a lot of like empathy for them and helps them, or well, doesn't help them probably. He just like he sells, right? And they're having a good time doing that. Cooking for themselves, providing for themselves. Just these calm and quiet and beautiful moments. Right? They still got nourishment. They got security. And now they also got tranquility, they got rest. Emotional. Like at this point in time, it's rough, but it's life, right? Watching the sunset. Washing the dishes. Catching some fireflies and making some light inside your little shelter, your little home. Talking about the past and all of that. Defending our homeland from invaders near and far, right? There's that nationalism in it. Those flags are probably not accurate. They were probably the old imperial flags at this point in time. And it's in him too, right? That nationalism. His father is a soldier, of course, right? I wonder where Dad is fighting now. And he's seeking that. Like, he's lonely, right? He's the one who has to shoulder all of this responsibility. It makes you feel very isolated, right? Even though you have your little sister there, she can't understand the burden that is upon you, and you don't want to put it on her either. So there's this feeling that you need somebody too who hugs you and is like, I understand, it's all right. So what he's seeking here is like physical closeness. He's like, let me hug you, let me feel like that connection, that human connection. But she's like, I need to sleep, I want to sleep. And even though he knows it's not her fault at all, he does feel rejected in that moment. He does feel like he's alone with his worries and troubles, right? Taking care of her. Making a grave, mama's grave. And this is what breaks him. It's very interesting because I didn't recognize that at first, but in this moment I was like, maybe that's what he needed, right? That's what he needed to cry himself. That she actually knows. Because so far it's only been inside of him, right? And he was like, I need to hold it in, otherwise she's gonna find out. I want to break her heart. And now the dam breaks. Really cool angle when we look from like a little bit higher at the shores of this little lake. And we're both crying. Amber tree and the red hue of the ashes. Orange fireflies flying over. People getting, right? Kids walking by, right? They're out, they're having fun, they're fishing, right? They're somewhat provided for. I want to eat that. You're not hungry. Not yet, right? They're provided for. Like, I can pay you money, it's like, it's not about the money, I don't have much. And he knows about his situation, so he's like, dude, you can't survive outside the system. Maybe you should just go to your aunt and apologize. He's like, nah, he's in too deep. I can't go back now. What do I say? She's gonna be so mad at me. She's gonna be like, right? And she's gonna be standing over me gloating and gonna be like, I knew you couldn't provide for yourself. Now you better work. And no happiness. This is when it starts, the desperation. I can't work for it, I can't pay for it. We'll just eat, we steal, we get it. And they're being noticed. It's subtle. It's so beautiful. But we do see it crumble. Get some fish, which is interesting because like doctors like she needs nutrients. I mean, they're making fish. Should be enough nutrients, right? Maybe not enough veggies. Yeah. We're having like lice, which is also an issue, right? She's got diarrhea. She's going trying to get more food, and he's like, so you're the thief. And this is when it ends. He doesn't even care. He's so mad he doesn't even care. He's like, I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna take you and they're gonna kind of put you away, and he's not even being like, okay, I'm gonna take in this little kid. or I'm gonna make sure that they're at least somewhere, right? Like I'm gonna take her with me to the police, right? And they'll see where you go. No. Doesn't care. He's so mad, he doesn't care. And he wants more punishment. He's like, he stole all my crops. Crazy, right? Is he the bad guy? Did he have more than you? He didn't. But I mean, obviously he wasn't going hungry. But he had enough to share, maybe. That's the thing. He didn't share it anyway. Right? Not even for money. He was like, oh, not enough. Officers like you. Oh, okay, you beat this little boy to a pulp. What are you doing? And it's getting less dangerous, right? We still got the air raids, but we use them now. We use them to steal stuff. It's not enough, right? It's not enough calories. It's not enough vitamins. It's not enough for a little child to survive on it. It's not an air raid every day. And she's getting weaker and weaker. And yeah, there's this like, this is a very interesting moment, right? There's like going back home in the fog, and suddenly he just starts laughing and playing around, and he's like, and I have this much, I have so much stuff, it's gonna be amazing, right? It's almost going into villain mode. He's like, I did it, fuck all those people, right? Fuck the world. It's like at this point he's like, he's in so deep, he's in so far. And still he's just right. What he's doing morally that wrong? I don't think so. Kid wants to survive. He goes back to his aunt. No, who knows? It's just like, you ran away. I'm not gonna take you in there. Doesn't know where his relatives in Tokyo are. Maybe he should have gone there, right? It's too late for that now, at least. I think so. They're too weak to travel too far. And they're like, I'm trying to pawn off this garbage to me. It's like, okay, all garbage, I guess. So that's cool. Exhausted, right? They did such a good job of making them look malnourished over time, right? He has lost all of like the fat in his cheeks, and for her it's even worse. It's like she looks like a skull at this point in time, right? The way the arms are slightly bent in, right? There's no meat on those bones, and the ants are already walking across her face, the eyes, lifeless. There's not a lot going on in there. Barely anything holding her together. This is when he goes to a doctor and he's like, all this child needs is food. He's like, where do I get food? Doc is like, not my problem. You do. Fuck you do. I think it's interesting that he didn't withdraw the money earlier to provide food. I mean, maybe he was trying to be conscious and rationing. And that's when he's going back to the city and suddenly he's like, what the fuck? What do you mean we lost? What do you mean we surrendered? I'm exhausted. Is my dad dead too, right? This is the loss of any hope. That's the end of that beautiful, picturesque landscape. It's interesting how we contrast so much nature and beauty with such devastation and desperation. beautiful frame with the swing framing him in, and now we step in, and it's like, yes, there's asymmetry in this picture, but it's like the interior is very dark, so you don't see that asymmetry as much. What you do see is like almost right in the middle of the screen, the door. He's outside, in the light, in life. She is inside. Not in the dark, but in a darker environment. Almost at death's door. And it's like you're coming home and something isn't right. She's been eating marbles. And eating like stuff that doesn't give her anything. Like, shoe leather would have probably been better. Giving her the melon, but it's too late. And I thought so, right? Like, it's almost like the feeling I had. She never woke up. Fell asleep. With the sweet taste of watermelon. And that is it. Because with her gone, he is gone. I think he buried her, right? I don't know what this last scene was. I guess it's like society coming back to some of these houses, right? After they fled. Just like, I mean, clearly these people are better off in terms of like wealth and being provided for. You have this beautiful sea and the scenery and everything is rich and posh, and then you have that, right? Nobody knows. Nobody remembers. Nobody knows that for like months a little kid and his little sister have been living there, trying to provide for themselves. The watermelon is being eaten by the ants. A little mound is here for the fireflies. Maybe also one for her. I don't know. And she's running around. The swing is broken. So much life, so much liveliness. But she has the doll back of her, like on her back, like he had her on the back in the beginning of the movie. Now she's like sweeping the floor, getting flowers. Look at that, right? As we have that shot, right, of her like all of these happy moments, these nice moments, just running around, and you do have the mirror image with the water surface, right? You have, normally you like use the 3-3-3 rule, right? You have like land, surface, air. Interestingly enough, this works because like the water is almost a replacement of the sky, which you normally have in these shots. So you do have land. Like no, normally you have trees, right? So the hill is like the trees. You have like that thin strip of land, and then you have the water, which is normally like you get like water, land, and then sky, or rather and part of the land is like the forest and whatnot, and the hills. It's very interesting how a lot of the shots that you would be taking that don't have that, right, especially don't have the sky, seem very alien. In this case it's not the case, and I feel like it's almost because the water is here as well, which is reflecting kind of and giving it this like almost as if that is a replacement for the sky in the shot. It's beautiful how there's this symmetry in the movement that we see in the reflected water surface. Standing to attention, knitting, drawing a drop of blood. sucking on it. Picturesque. Look at that. The tree as it's slowly branching out over the water. Grass, swing. Somebody lived here. Somebody really lived here. But that's over now. Super interesting how the casket, the makeshift casket, is towering over him here in this shot, right? Like not towering over him, but it's like in the forefront here, right? It's the focus of attention. Putting all her favorite things in there. Except for that, he's taking that with him as a keepsake, as a memento. He's sitting at the light in his eyes, right? The light of the fire in his eyes. Morning turns to noon, noon turns to afternoon, afternoon to night, evening. Till it's all burned down. Ashes in the candy tin. And now she's in the other world. And he is too, right? Looking back. Sitting on a hill, on a bench, the site of a big city. And that's it. It's the end, right? Life goes on, civilization goes on. But without him, nobody ever knew his loss. Or story. Beautiful shot. That's crazy. Yeah, it's a very different Studio Ghibli movie. It's a very different one. A lot of sadness and melancholy in that. It's different from the occasional moments of sadness that we have in the action of Princess Mononoke. It's different from the otherworldly weirdness and creepiness that we have in Spirited Away. A lot less childlike wonder in this one. A lot less fantasy, positive emotions. Although Setsuko is the heart and center of this movie, which is why it is so sad and gut-wrenching when she dies. Because she is the heart of the movie. She is the thing that we work for, the person that we work for. Her existence defines our goals. Her happiness provides us nourishment. And when that is gone, and she's slowly fading from this world, it is incredibly sad. Because it's not her fault. I mean, it's not even his fault. It's even less so her fault. But that is the fate of many people who are orphans of war. So I can stop wars, right? But I wish they wouldn't exist. I wish this wasn't a reality. But it is, even today. But definitely people think twice before saying or thinking that something like an act of war is justified. Because that's also an effect of these acts, right? Even if that effect is coming long after you initiate it. And it's not only the losing side, let me tell you. It's both sides that suffer. But the losing side even more so, of course. Scarcity of resources. destruction, oppression, all of these things. Oh yeah, what a damn movie to actually go into close to Christmas. But yeah, I wanted to watch that for a long time, and it has not disappointed with its cinematography and everything. Let me actually for a second let me look that up. Hotaru no Haka. Here we go. Original creator and director. I mean, character design is also interesting. Shout out to the voice actors and voice actresses of the people, especially for Setsuko, Ayano Shiraishi, and for Seita, who is Tsutomu Tatsumi, or Tatsumi. We have our original creator, 85 years of age today. Oh no, not today. He died in 2015. Rest in peace. Akiyuki Nosaka. I heard that name before. Probably because of Grave of the Fireflies. Children's stories about war. Holy shit. Won the 58th Naoki Prize. Isao Takahata as the director of this movie. Died 2018, the age of 82. Worked for Studio Ghibli, right? Anne of Green Gables. I haven't seen it, but I know of it. Of course, Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. Yeah, some of the earlier movies of Ghibli. And then we've got the character designer, Yoshifumi Kondo, or Kondo. 1998. He died at the age of 47. Holy shit. Okay. Operation. He worked on Mononoke. Nothing else that immediately sticks out to me, but and of course, but yeah. And this one, Lupin the Third. That's also something I kind of recognize. And this one, which is, what was that again? Yeah, Kiki something. I don't remember the exact English title, but I know it. I know of it. Yeah, shout out to all these talented people that made this possible, and obviously also to all of the other animators and drawing staff that was involved in this. Shout out to all of you. You made one heck of a movie. That's a lot of names. Well, with that being said, the discussion already went on a pretty long time. I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know what your favorite scenes were, and maybe some details you know about the movie if you do know them. Stuff you would like to share with me, or maybe if you have some points of discussion that you would like to put out there, join me on the Discord or write them in the YouTube or Patreon comments. I appreciate them and I read every comment. So yeah, I'll be seeing you next time. hopefully with something that is a little bit more uplifting than this. Because as much as I love movies like this as well, because they are important works of art that show a side of society and like humanity that isn't often shown. They also make me very sad and depressed. So I can't take just stuff like that. Otherwise, I'm going into major depression. But yeah, if you want to see me watch other stuff, I've watched the entire first season of Frieren, which was the first anime I reacted to. So go check that out if you want to. And I watch other things as well, right? Since then, very great works of art in general. Go check that out. Like this video if you liked it. Would be cool if you gave me a like. Subscribe to the channel for more, and check out my Patreon if you do want to support me. And I'll see you next time.